We turn now to Heather McGhee, director of the Washington office of Demos, a nonpartisan public policy group. Heather, good to see you. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Thomas.
All right, so Democrats reportedly want to extend the middle-class cuts permanently and the tax cuts for the rich temporarily. So at some point, Republicans will have to fight just for the rich. And it might be good politics, but what does it do to the deficit? What does it do to the economy for us?
I think it's a really strong move, obviously, for President Obama and the Democrats to continue to push for the middle-class tax cuts that were really their signature achievement in tax policy since President Obama became president. Not that many people know this, but actually, President Obama gave the middle class the single largest tax cut in American history during the Recovery Act. So while families are living paycheck to paycheck and so many people in this country are worrying about the roof over their head, the last thing we need to do is raise taxes on the middle class. But when we ask the question, what is this policy for, the answer on the highest income tax cuts is really just resounding silence, because we really need to be pushing the Republicans. Democrats really need to be pushing the Republicans to justify wealthy tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans at a time of massive unemployment.
Well, yeah, people don't realize because, I mean, most un-Americans are unemployed. We have this skyrocket unemployment rate of 9.6%, 15 million Americans that are out of work. And as you pointed out, from the Recovery Act, Americans don't even know that Obama lowered their taxes last year. So no matter how much that he lowers the taxes now, or for whom, won't it just mean that Republicans take credit for him doing so, and then they hammer him for increasing the deficit to do so? It's like a real catch-22.
Yeah, I think that the president has an opportunity right now to really shape the agenda. It seems that the Republicans, if you try to follow the Republicans' logic, it will get you exactly nowhere. So what the president needs to do here is say, listen, we have an enormous economic problem in this country, and explain to the American people that, in fact, the least powerful tool in the government's arsenal to stimulate the economy, put more Americans back to work, is the Republicans' #1 domestic priority, which is, other than making him a one-term president, tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires. It is simply the least powerful tool in the government's arsenal.
Heather, let's go over some of this. So the Republicans have said that they are willing to borrow $700 billion to lower taxes above $250,000 because it will create jobs. But once you're willing to borrow $700 billion, aren't there more effective ways to use it to create jobs?
Absolutely. We know that, in fact, tax cuts cost the U.S. more than they create in economic activity. Demos is going to be issuing a report in a few weeks that talks about what it would cost to just directly put the American people who are out of a job through no fault of their own back to work. And what we're going to be able to show is that you can get 12 million people back to work in this country for the $700 billion a year that the Bush tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans would cost. I mean, if you frame it that way, I don't see how that's not a winning solution for the president and the Democrats.
So Heather, is that what you think the president and congressional Democrats should do? That's the headline?
Absolutely. I think it is a moral, a moral concern for the president, and I think it's a political concern for the president that he basically dare the opposition to say no to putting Americans back to work.
Heather McGhee of Demos, many thanks to you, Heather. Good to have you with us tonight.